tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Dun, 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 dun.
This is my jam. I'm hoping that they can play it all the way through. I love like the end of...
Yeah.
Just have it in the background. Because I know the fans love it, as they love this after show as we talk about the league here
Darn right.
on AFTERBUZZ TV.
With a clean-shaven George Hermoza.
That's right. Just because, you know, I told myself I was going to shave once the Patriots lost, and I'm a man of my word. So once that playoff time comes around, it's back to no shave playoff.
There you go.
It's almost there. I like the part. But yeah, we're here on AFTERBUZZ TV talking about the league. We're going to talk about the penultimate episode of the league.
That's right. Ever. Not this season.
Not this season. I am joined today by the illustrious... I like the part. Illustrious, magnificent, intelligent... yeah. Phil Svitek, how are you?
I'm good. I heard we had a great replacement last time for me.
Replacements.
Yeah.
Well, Steve and Christy were here. And I know Christy was here as we were kind of talking about the female gender. So she needed to have her 2 cents, maybe even 3 cents in to defend her gender, rightfully so. You know, I mean, she wanted to say that not all women are crazy. And she proved us right. But I am George Hermoza. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
I am George Hermoza, and we're going to talk about the second to last, penultimate episode ever of the league called The 13 Stages of Grief.
It's a very sad, it's been a couple of sad episodes.
I agree. Of course, we're you weren't here last time we covered it, but I know you watched it, and where Sofia passed away.
Yeah.
That was just kind of sudden. I mean, I know she's been in Puerto Rico all season, but it turns out she had a procedure. Of course, we all saw the last episode, or second last episode, but she passed away, and the whole episode was kind of Ruxin and the animation thing. What did you think of them? I was kind of curious what you thought about the whole animation thing.
I like Rafi and Dirty Randy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I obviously understand why they chose to make it animation. It just seemed easier, especially when you're going to Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I want to know the debate of, if she went to Andre, would she still be alive?
Oh,
my gut says yes.
That's a good point. And Andre is the #1 plastic surgeon in Chicago. But I like the whole continuity thing of, I know they didn't show him, but we can clearly know based on past episodes, is Aziz Ansari, who got, what's the word I'm looking for, when you can't, like, malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously now he's a doctor in Puerto Rico, so maybe that's why he was a doctor. So he was the one that kind of caused, the Sofia death. Most likely.
Yeah, could have been. But yeah, very, very morbid. I don't, we've talked about this before. It's always great when you have Ruxin in an episode. But now I take it back. It's great to have Ruxin in an episode when he's upbeat.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously still a little bit grieving about his wife who passed away. Obviously, it kind of starts off with them... going over, the team and the league. Should we let him win? Should we not let him win? Everything kind of looks like it's back to normal, apparently, But first is Rafi kind of taking over that role of Sofia, which obviously, for those who maybe might have missed it here and there, Rafi and Sofia are siblings. So Rafi is, obviously the brother-in-law of Ruxin. And
hard to believe, but yes.
I know, very, very opposite of personalities. But now we kind of saw why he is so different from that last episode. I guess we meet Sofia's dad.
Yeah, that was a good little backstory, especially kind of because Rafi is so out there. So it was good to see that aspect of it. In terms of the 13 stages of grief, what do you think the missing holes were
in the episode?
We know shallow hole is one of them, or shallow grave, whatever. the dead raccoon.
Yeah.
Letting go via sex one last time.
See, I mean, I guess it's maybe not too different than maybe, I mean, I guess it's very, very different, but in any ways, it's not that different as far as losing, you know, a loved one or maybe even breaking up with somebody. So I'm assuming that maybe strip club might be in there somewhere. I mean, you gotta get over it somehow. I don't know.
I thought that's what 13 was.
I mean, maybe.
But yeah, sure, you know, strip club, why not?
Maybe that's gonna be the next episode. Maybe they just went over the 12th and then next week is the 13th. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously, next week is kind of a big show, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how they wrap this up.
I mean, I'm saying I'm excited, but not too excited because the show's over. I know in the past where we've seen a lot of shows, knowing it's the finale. I know we see a lot of shows where you don't know that's the final episode, but we know this is the final episode. It's not getting canceled. It just, you know, it's over. I think it's season 7, so I mean, it's kind of has its time.
It's had a good run. In terms of, yeah, I like how far Rafi's always able to take things, and obviously he pretty much became Sofia, with the exception of the gagging.
I've said this before, and it must be so easy to write for Rafi because you can do anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing that won't make sense for that character.
But there's that, but it's also, regardless, for Taco and him and Dirty Randy, there's still got to be, it's still got to make sense at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just even kind of like the toilet water and the plunger and, you know, how he had thick pee. It all has to kind of come from something. It has to be grounded in reality and just twisted on its head.
Yeah.
But I give him so much credit the way he's able to.
I will say early on then we're kind of maybe talking flashback on previous episodes of the season or of the league of previous seasons is looking back on the show. I wasn't really a big fan of Rafi in the beginning because he was kind of out there, but as time went by, I'm like, okay, I kind of get what this character is now. And dude, I like it now. I really do like his character. I think he brings a lot more to the table. I think he adds a certain element, and he does add as an extra dimension to that whole group, which kind of, in some terms, seem a little bit more tame compared to Rafi.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, Ruxin's never... I don't think he's ever going to change. I don't think the Sofia... It'll be interesting how he actually reacts because I don't think he's fully grieved about Sofia. I think he's just gotten over the fact of Rafi trying to make him feel better.
I did get a little... or I did like the part where I guess Rafi kind of insisting on, I guess, making love with Ruxin. Just obviously his whole demeanor is like, well, you know, it's got to happen, you know, with this. And then I was kind of weird. It's like, out of all things, vanilla candles makes Rafi gag. Out of everything in the entire world, not a dead raccoon or, you know, whatever it is, vanilla candles out of everything.
Yeah, because vanilla candles symbolize beauty. I don't know. Like
it's like the complete opposite of Rafi.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, it'd be like, hey, I brought you some flowers.
Maybe. But speaking of Rafi, he's part of the reason why the draft league page for them was, I guess, suspended. Or
well, it went down.
It went down.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what he canceled, suspended. Definitely it's not working anymore, certainly.
I mean, it turns out that in Puerto Rico, Rafi and Dirty Randy were caught having sex with birds
at a park.
At a national park, apparently.
But I like Taco. See, again, that's where when you can kind of play off of them of like the birds, they did seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, so I mean, they had video and put it up on the boards, and obviously, I guess whoever is in charge of that, I know some places do Yahoo or CBS or NFL Fantasy, whatever it is, did not like the video, thus taking down the page. And if anybody's in a fantasy football league knows that there's a lot of calculations done that you're kind of thankful that you don't have to do it yourself. It's kind of like I don't remember how I ever went bowling when you had to manually take score.
A bowling doesn't make sense to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 10 pins, but yet if you hit 12, that's like 220.
Alexis, you on the boards?
I am.
Alexis, briefly, you understand bowling better than anyone. I know.
Sure.
How the hell does it work?
I don't really know the okay, I'm trying to think of rules.
See, okay, so obviously you hit your pins, but if you hit a spare, that means you kind of add 10 or 20 to your first, the next throw or whatever they're called.
It's just annoying.
But if you hit a strike, then it's like it goes over
on the
the second one.
Yeah. So if let's say you did hit a spare, it would add on to the next into your
first throw,
into your next frame.
Yeah.
And then for a strike, it would be the frame that you already did.
Yeah. So I mean, my point is, like, I can't even imagine how to keep score. Like, thankfully they have it automated.
Yes.
In the alley. And in Kevin's terms, he probably was thankful that this whole time he didn't have to take calculations, because based on his math, it was a lot of trouble. Obviously, you can just click on here, click on there. He's getting faxes, texts, emails.
I don't think the math is that much trouble. I think it's just the fact of, again, the
setting your lineup and
setting the lineup
guys
and
off
what
the free agency.
Exactly. I think that's more confusing. But I feel like there's an app for that.
Well, there is, but they can't access the app. They can't access the league page.
Yeah, but if like just input your players. Like at the very, you know what I mean? Like a bare bones fantasy type scenario of like.
But also too, not all leagues have the same like scoring system.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that certain leagues change up their scoring systems, which makes it even more confusing.
And I will say this, and yeah, I do agree with how difficult it must have been for Kevin, because I go through my lineup 15, 20 times in those last 10 minutes before the games actually start, because I'm so indecisive. So I can only imagine from Kevin, and first off, fax machines, that's his way of communication.
Well, here's the I think obviously email could work, but at the same time, the nice part about fax is that it's time stamped.
That's true.
So that way you can, again, if needed.
What about texts?
Text, yeah, I guess they could be, but you just need an official thing.
Yeah. I mean, it turns out, it was fine. It looked like he loved it. Kevin has always been the biggest fan of this league in general, as far as just being the commissioner.
You mean Brian?
Brian, yeah. Wait, which one's tall guy? Tall guy's Pete.
Yeah.
Right? I was going to call him Brian.
No, Rafi kept calling Kevin Brian.
Yeah. There was Brian, tall guy. Of course, there's Ruxin, because that's his brother-in-law. But yeah, like I said, I think Kevin loved it. I think he liked this whole aspect of just, being the commissioner. Actually, probably is no different than actually being maybe even a GM of a team, where you're making trades or you're trying to pick up guys off of free agency. You're making calls, you're receiving calls. So I'm sure he loved it. It's probably the closest thing to being.
I think so too. I think, he could have utilized an Excel sheet, because then you could type the players in, you could change them, and it adds things up for you.
That's true. That's a good point. You're so smart.
See,
no wonder I called you illustrious. Another kind of little side thing is, I know we've been mentioning them in the past few weeks and all season long. Pete and the DraftKings thing. I know he kind of dropped some hints early on in the episode, or early on in the season, saying, I'm going to try this DraftKings thing, and obviously this whole product placement thing. So he's not just saying, I'm going to join DraftKings. It's, I'm going to join DraftKings because they pay weekly. Oh, because it's 1 week fantasy league. And now it's like, I'm going to be in the DraftKings. I'm going to be in the $1 million world championships. It's like, wow. I guess their DraftKings are really, really paying them a lot of money to do that. But
I think so. I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm not sure if it's integrated or not.
I will say this.
Watch South Park. If
I will say this. I did win $27 like 2 weeks ago on DraftKings.
Dude, if you times that by 10,
I know, that's a
lot.
And it sucks because, like, I think I only put in like $5. So just imagine, if I would have maybe played a bigger lobby, I guess they call them. But yeah, I mean, and of course nobody likes it when Pete talks about the DraftKings. So it's like, hey, you're in our league, so don't be talking about your 1 week fantasy. So of course Pete just keeps saying, I'm going to be in the World Championships, which obviously is going to be next week, since it's the last episode. I guess what would be the if it's penultimate, then what tomorrow? The next week would be the
finale.
Well, I mean, is there like a cooler scientific name?
The penultimate, the ultimate
episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it does come from the Latin word ultimo, which means last in Spanish. I don't know.
Getting lessons all over the place from George Hermoza.
Yeah, so you had Pede and you know, obviously with this whole DraftKings thing. And then we kind of had this whole like reservation thing that Andre was trying to get, but under Ruxin's name.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand this. I mean, obviously there's not much to have to understand.
I was going to ask you, like, what's the big deal about this restaurant? Did I miss something?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Chicago's kind of known for their restaurants, I guess. I've never been. I can't speak to it.
Because I guess Ruxin made the reservation with, or as Andre would call it, a resi. Made the reservation.
I think he just had it
with Sofia.
Yeah,
but I think was it because of that Shiva-looking thing at the end?
Maybe. I mean, I think Ruxin, from what I gathered, Ruxin just happened. It'd be like it's a perk of the job. It'd be like me telling you, George, like, hey, you know what? Because you're an AfterBuzz host, I got you a reservation at Chateau Marmont for New Year's Eve.
Really?
Yes, I did.
I've been trying this whole time to get there. This whole time.
Oh well.
Thank you so much.
You can go.
I really appreciate it. But at the end of it, they all kind of go. They are at this restaurant. They're kind of having this powwow, this maybe end of the league powwow, where Kevin's like, well, you know what? Screw this. We're just gonna have a winner. Everybody makes the playoffs. Highest score gets a Shiva. Lowest score gets a Sako.
It's a fun way to go.
Yeah, just screw it. Just all out. Final 8. So I'm kind of curious how that's gonna play out.
I like Taco. Like I lost fair and square. I got stuff to do next week.
And there's no way to prove this because nobody was in my mind. But I was thinking about a few of the past penultimate episodes of certain series. And I'm like, I wonder if this is going to end in a cliffhanger.
I can't.
And it turns out it did.
Oh, if this episode, yeah. Of course this one's going to end in a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You got to drop the bomb.
You have to. I mean, you got to have something to look forward to. I've seen it all with like The Shield, Entourage, I think Prison Break too. Those are the kind of the shows that I was watching back in the day. They all had a very, climactic.
UFC didn't have a cliffhanger.
Well, they keep going. They're still on, but yeah. So we even see it in wrestling all the time. But yeah, we do see it. It's always that last Raw before WrestleMania.
You gotta have a cliffhanger.
You gotta have a cliffhanger, and what a cliffhanger this was. Because right when you thought that she was gone, good old Megan comes back, and
she's pregnant.
She's pregos
and fat,
but just pregos. So obviously, before you even see a chance for Andre to react, we gotta watch next week to really see how he ends up reacting. Because obviously, we see his face; he's shocked, but that's how the episode ends.
Well, obviously they liked each other, and
they kind of broke up for a silly reason.
Yes, they did.
So
and
we're assuming that it's his, because the timing of everything just.
Yeah,
because they were already together in the beginning of the season, so who knows how long.
Plus, I don't think she slept around much besides him. But she was just very controlling, and obviously came down to fantasy football.
Yeah.
Which it came down to fantasy football with Pete.
but yeah, I'm excited for the next week, the final episode of the league.
Do you think Pete and Megan will get back together? Is this how it comes? Why not?
I don't know.
What if it's his?
Maybe. You never know. Maybe that would have been like, right before they got together. I don't know. That's interesting. A lot can happen next week. Speaking of it, did you have any favorite episodes, moments of this episode?
I like Rafi. I just like Rafi in general, so I thought he did really great. And when he interacted with Taco, that's fun. I think if they could have a few scenes, just at least one good one next week with Rafi and Taco, just because they're on such a weird level.
Yeah, I like the whole my face thing, because obviously they had to do down, and then the crap talking with like the cum junkie. Mm-hmm. I thought that was so funny. But
there's no such thing.
We are going to be here next week for the very last time as we recap the last episode of the league. So Feel free to give us where am I? iTunes, YouTube. I can't even talk right now. I want to know what everybody's favorite episodes, favorite moments of the league. We're going to talk about it next week. We're going to recap not the whole series.
We're going to do a
ever.
3-hour show.
Yeah, we're not going to recap the whole series, but we are going to talk about maybe just some flashbacks, some whatnot. Maybe my favorite episode, maybe your favorite episode, maybe your favorite episode. But we will see you next week on the very last episode of the League After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. I am George Hermoza. You say your name. I can't even say your name. Svitek. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all the above.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AFTERBUZZ TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AFTERBUZZ TV or its owners or principals.